Right, so let's go back. Auto scale, auto fit. We're going for manual. Press OK. And you see there is no graph yet, but yet there's a label lying here. The graph is on this axis. We so zoomed in so far that we can't see it. So we've got to zoom out a bit. So click the zoom out button. And there you'll see your line, your manual fit line lying over here. And there's no way we can move it unless we double click on the label. Go down to enable line drag. Okay. And it'll give you some handles that you can use to move the line. So if you just left click and hold it in, you can move the gradient. You can change the gradient of that line. And if it's crossing this region, when we auto scale, we'll be able to see it. So let's go auto scale. There's that manual fit line. And what we want to do with this line is get our gradient that passes through all the error bars. That is a maximum gradient. So if you grab the top right corner over here and you move it around, you can get the line to just intersect the top of that error bar. We can go to the bottom left now. We can grab this side, hold your button in, you can move it down, and here we're trying to get this line, this gradient, passing through the bottom of that first data point's error bar. Over there, and you'll see it's come out of place here. So let's adjust it on this end, and that looks like it's passing through the top of that error bar, passing through the top of that error bar, and passing through the bottom of that error bar. That's a steeper gradient and would represent our maximum gradient. But we want to be a bit more precise than that. If you look at this steeper gradient, it's passing through those error bars, it's passing through that error bar, but it's not passing through this one. So we want to adjust it slightly. So let's grab this end here again, bring it down, decrease the gradient. Now you see it's passing through that error bar there. So it's passing through all the error bars, and it is the steepest gradient we can pass through all our error bars. So the next thing we want to do is, when you finished adjusting your maximum gradient, you double click on this label again, disable the line drag so that it's fixed in place and we can't move that line anymore. If we wanted to move it, we'd obviously go in and enable line drag again. So there we go. We've got a linear fit. That was our best fit line through our data points. We've got a maximum gradient. And you can see how that gradient there is 32.64. And that's slightly bigger than the other one, than the best fit line gradient. Okay, so the error bars have enabled us to draw a more steeper gradient that passes through all the error bars. Next thing we want to do is find our least steepest line. So we go back to curve fit. We've got our straight line function, our linear function, mx plus b, and we want another manual fit because we want to move it around. And we press OK. And again, we don't see the line yet. If we zoom out, there it is. And again, to move it around, to drag the line around, we'd have to double click on the label, enable line drag. OK. Now we've got some handles to use. Just move it into that region before we auto scale. Auto scale graph, so we can zoom in. There we go. Right, let's move this line so that it's passing through all the error bars, but we have the least steepest slope. So I'm working over here near this top right data point. I'm getting it to the bottom of the error bar. Then I go right down to the bottom, find the other end, get it through the top of that error bar, and then I check to see if my line is passing through all the error bars. And it seems to be. I can adjust this end a little bit. And this looks like my least steepest gradient that could pass through all the error bars. When I'm finished adjusting it, double click on the label, disable your line drag, and we can't move those lines around unless we go back in. Next thing I want to do is I want to change the size of these labels. So I double click on the linear fit label, and I'll go to appearance, appearance, and I can change that to font size 12. Okay, that's nice and big. So when I print my graph, these labels are easily readable. Let's go to the manual fit label, double click on it, appearance, font size 12. Okay, and okay, it's nice and big. The reason why we're doing this is so it's more easily readable when we put it into our report. So what have we got? We've got a linear fit gradient and intercept. We've got our steepest gradient of 32.64 and its intercept. And we've got our least steepest line with a gradient of 29.96. Its intercept is just over 3. Talking about intercepts, it's important that we show an intercept if it's relevant. So we can rescale our axes. Let's start with the vertical axis. Moving down to the bottom here, we see that squiggly line, and we just grab the axis and move it up until we see the 0. There it is. Do the same for the horizontal axis. There we can see our intercepts. The intercept of the linear fit is passing very close to the origin. The least steepest gradient has the biggest y-intercept, and the steepest gradient has the smallest intercept. So there's uncertainty in our intercept, which we'll deal with in class. The graph is meaningless without a title. So let's double click up here, the top of the screen, and we're going to put a title in here. And this is going to be v-mean versus the square root of the tension in the string. That's a capital. Let's change that to lowercase. And click done. There's your heading coming up. And you can position your labels so that they're out of the way. And there's your graph in Logger Pro. If I wanted to copy this graph and paste it into Word, I'd simply right click on copy, open up a Word document. And our Word documents, our reports are going to be in font size 12. They're going to be an aerial, and they're going to be double spacing. So we go to paragraph, click double spacing. Okay, and that's how we're going to do our report. So I've copied that graph and now I'm going to paste it in here. And you see it's very small, difficult to read. That's one of the reasons why we made those labels larger. But we can resize this. So if we left click on it and then right click, we can go to wrap text. We want it behind text. And that enables us now to move it around our page. So if I start my graph on the left like that, I can grab this corner. And now it's looking a whole lot better and clearer and more easy to read.